The 18 Strong Podcast, episode number 109, with Jessika Shelton from Painless Golfing.
A lifestyle is a choice. And as a golfer, and again, depending on your level or your commitment, that having that healthy choice that you make every day can affect your swing.
Welcome to the 18 Strong Podcast, where you get direct access to the world's greatest experts on training harder, practicing smarter, and playing better golf. Now, here's your host, Jeff Pellizzero.
Hey, what's up? Welcome to the 18 Strong Podcast this week. Hopefully you listened to last week's episode number 108 with Jeff Ritter from Make the Turn. It was a very inspiring and exceptional episode, I think, with a guy who's doing incredible things in the world of golf, not just from the golf improvement side, but Jeff's company, Make the Turn, has really taken on the mission of improving not just the golf, but the lifestyle, the fitness, the nutrition, the mental game, a little bit of everything that really kind of encapsulates what we want to do here at the 18 Strong Podcast and on 18 Strong, as far as improving not just your golf, but your overall health, your overall lifestyle. So thank you, Jeff, for coming on the show. If you didn't listen to it, he gives us a great exercise called the Genie's List, which I know for a fact has already inspired one of the listeners to start writing a book about golf and some other experiences that he's had in his life. So if you didn't listen to that, didn't do the Genie exercise, go ahead and listen and participate in that exercise, because who knows where it's going to lead you. All right, and now on to this week's guest, who is Jessika Shelton from Painless Golfing. And Jessika is a yogi. She practices and teaches yoga. She is a fitness trainer and works with a lot of golfers in the Las Vegas area. And while this interview initially kind of started out wanting to delve into more of the yoga side and some of the practices that she does on a daily basis as far as the physical nature of it, what we really ended up digging into more was what are the deeper reasons and the why behind all of the fitness, all of the nutrition, all of the practice and hard work and dedication that you and all the other golfers in this world and that are listening to this show, why do we put that effort in, or what's holding us back? And so what we discussed today on today's show is much more about, what may be holding you back and what she has found with her students, her clients, that, on a deeper level were the things that kind of had them stuck. And how do they go about getting past those things and moving forward? And then we do discuss some of the yoga practice and some of the more physical things. But I think the biggest takeaway for me from this episode was really being able to figure out and talk to clients and talk to the golfers and you yourself personally, figuring out what is it that you really want and what may be holding you back and how are you going to go ahead and move forward and go get it. I'm really looking forward to meeting Jessika in about a week and a half here at the World Golf Fitness Summit, as well as many of the other great professionals that we've had on the show. I'm actually going to be doing quite a few interviews from the venue there at the World Golf Fitness Summit, so I'm hoping to capture a lot of the different presenters that TPI has on the stage and just a lot of the other people that will be around in the area of the World Golf Fitness Summit, which is in New Orleans. It's going to be an incredible time, and hopefully we'll come back with a lot of great content from some amazing individuals, as always. Now let me bring in the featured guest, Jessika Shelton. Hey Jess, welcome to the 18 Strong Podcast. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So you and I, we were introduced via a mutual friend, and he's like, "Hey, you should get Jess on the show. She's working with golfers. She's a yogi. She has worked with a ton of golfers and helped them play painless golf." And so, first of all, what got you into the world of golf? And we'll just kind of start there, get a little bit of your background and your story.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, like you just mentioned, I am a yogi. And I do teach yoga. So for me, I started out in the training aspect, in the training world of things. And from there, I worked at a golf resort. And I had a lot of clients who were coming in for the yoga classes or the training sessions that I was doing. And I really got a big sense of what these golfers were dealing with, wanting to increase that flexibility in their hips, shoulders, low back, things that golfers can normally feel limited with. And I ask myself this question constantly. What is it that stops us from pushing hard and having the body that we say we want, or the things that we want? And I ask myself that, even being the trainer I am. And for me, it was, what's my perfect client? And when I thought about it, at the end of the day, it was these golfers and these golf guys that I was dealing with on a day-to-day basis. And so that's kind of how I got into dealing with the golfers and the golfer body, and really switching and completely transforming and changing the way, the direction I was going with my training.
So where were you before the golf resort? Take us back to, schooling, or even, did you play sports growing up? What kind of background?
Yeah, I was an active athlete. I did softball, swim, track, cheer, name it, I did it. And I loved feeling that, that active body. But once I stopped being so active, I felt the postponed or the after body of not being so active. But just to kind of backtrack a little bit, I went to UNLV. I'm a Vegas native.
Nice.
And I've got family out here, so I've always just stayed out here in that sense. And it's been amazing, I think, to be able to switch it up and do that. Yeah.
So you started working as more the trainer side. And did you get a degree in exercise science, and then started working with just regular clientele and kind of got into the golf resort? Yeah.
Yes. So definitely. I am newly TPI certified.
Awesome.
And so I also have my yoga and Pilates and personal training background. So I started there with working through gyms, working through yoga studios. And that's kind of how I delved into fitness and health and wellness. If you even want to backtrack it even further, I actually started out pre-nursing. And when I was certified as a phlebotomist and working through a hospital, I was doing preventative, or I was in the health industry where it was very kind of depressing in a sense. Mm-hmm. And when you're around that, you can kind of feel that. So from seeing that, I realized, wow, I want to, get before, and instead of, the last resort, I want to get into preventative health.
Yeah.
So that's how I delve into just, again, being active again with my life with yoga and Pilates and all of those different aspects of it.
The preventative thing has been a big one for me, with my background in physical therapy. I'll never forget I had a clinical rotation at a hospital here in St. Louis. I went to school in Kansas City, but I had several rotations that I did. One was an inpatient clinical at St. Louis University Hospital. And I can remember thinking how depressing that hospital setting was, seeing people post-surgery and things like that, which it was amazing to work with them and get them up and moving. But again, that whole scenario of being there really kind of made me focus on, moving forward. And that's why I kind of wanted to be in the outpatient setting. But then even in the outpatient setting, working with injuries and things like that really made me want to switch over more towards, hey, let me get on the other side where it's more the performance side. It's the side where we're trying to help people prevent this area. But you and I both know that golfers, no matter what, no matter how much prevention and things like that, there are injuries, there's back pain, there's all kinds of other issues. What are some of the biggest things that you see with your clientele or people that come to see you as far as pain-wise, injury, things that have happened, and things that limit them on the golf course?
No, absolutely. My biggest thing, my number one question asked is, how can I prevent low back pain? And I think sometimes systemically it starts from knowing how you feel in your body, and also, realizing where that actually is coming from. How am I using my body? How am I functionally moving with the swing? How am I turning in my hip? And starting from there and realizing that can really make the huge difference and the huge change. So that's one of the biggest things that I've seen. Also with hips, Shoulders can be another issue I've seen as well. And this isn't, I'm obviously not the physician here, like yourself, Jeff.
I only play a doctor on TV. I'm not actually just a physical therapist.
All right. But I think that from hearing just, and the way that I mold my business is that I listen. I take time, I sit down, I ask them, what is it that you're dealing with specifically? And from there, I can see and analyze with the body from what I've learned and all the education I've taken from that, and just analyze and go from there and help them build to that end goal so that they can feel pain-free, or they can swing and not have to go ice their shoulders after, on the back nine or after 36 holes, depending how their player level.
Yeah, I think when you and I first chatted, and this was, I think, a couple of months ago, we were talking about, just kind of the process of somebody coming in to see you and what that looks like. And you, kind of what you just mentioned here was you really take the time to figure out what their lifestyle is like, what they're dealing with from a stress basis, what, diet-wise, things like that. So obviously we are going to kind of focus a little bit on the yoga aspect here, but I know that you have so much more that you really look at. How have you found that the lifestyle component plays into what's going on with the golfer, and how you then kind of tailor that to suit their needs?
Huge. I think that a lifestyle is a choice, and as a golfer, and again, depending on your level or your commitment, that having that healthy choice that you make every day can affect your swing. And from knowing that and using that as your fuel, using that as your fire, that can help you become a better golfer,
So what are some of the specific
50 yards further?
yeah, because that's what we all want, right? And we want to hit it another 30, 40, 50 yards. What are some of the biggest things outside of the physical nature, and we'll get into some of those, but as far as the other components of the lifestyle, what are some of the bigger things that you've seen have to make the biggest impact or change once you dial in on that person, what they can change to make themselves a better golfer, but also just live a cleaner lifestyle?
No, absolutely. And a lot of the times, it comes down to what they're dealing with in their day-to-day. A lot of my guys who I've spoke with and I've talked to when I first meet them, it can be fun like this when you're talking to someone and you first get to know them. But when it comes down to it and you really get on their level one-on-one, things come out. And, I don't have confidence anymore, Jess. I'm ashamed of, the way I'm eating, and I'm eating to fill a void. And it's showing up in my golf game. And things like that, if I know those things, I can help 10 times, 100% more. And from knowing those reasons and from getting on that one-on-one level basis that you normally wouldn't get from a program, you can make lifestyle changes that give you the wants and desires that you are looking for. Now, I know that some of those things kind of sound a little scary and nerve-wracking, but at the end of the day, when you sit down and you ask yourself, what is really going to make me happy in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, in the next week, is making that decision to maybe lay around and hang out and say that I want this, but not really go after it. How is that going to serve me? And from knowing, really truly knowing deep within you, your reason, your why, find that why. Even anyone listening today, find your why, find your power, find that passion deep inside of you, because when you dig deep and you find that, nothing can stop you. Nothing will stop you. And I'm only going to be smiling with you, So, yeah, do it. because you deserve it. Because whatever you say that you want in life is attainable, because you are the only person holding you back.
It's funny that you kind of went in that direction, because we just had a guest on last week by the name of Jeff Ritter, who's a very well-known golf instructor, has an incredible company, Make the Turn. Yeah, and it's very much in line with what he talks about. It's, we love golf. We love playing golf. Some of us play way more competitively than others, but golf is a part of our life. And the more that I am working and dealing and communicating with golfers, and especially through this show, I've had the opportunity to meet people from different countries but there's this unified, special bond amongst golfers, where it's part of our life. If you love it, you think about it on a daily basis, you're practicing your swing all the time, you're doing all these crazy things, but it also boils down to the fact that the other choices you make in your life also have a big impact on what's going on in your golf game. And that could be, things that are going on at home, stress. Could be if you're eating improperly, then you're not sleeping well. If you're not sleeping well, you're more stressed. If you're more stressed, you're jittery on the tee box. You're not eating well, and then all this stuff kind of snowballs into all these other problems. And I heard this quote a long time ago that said, "The way you do anything is the way you do everything." And so if your work life is a mess, your family life is a mess, your fitness regimen is a mess, then odds are your golf game is a mess. And it can be improved by improving some of these other factors. So I appreciate that you kind of went to the deeper reason behind doing all this stuff, and the fact that can definitely improve your golf game. Let's talk a little bit about the actual physical component of yoga. We've had some incredible guests on here who are also yogis. Catherine Roberts, the mother of all golf yoga, right?
Yeah.
And so when you're dealing with some of your clients, and for those that haven't tried yoga that are listening to this episode, what are some of the things they need to know before going into maybe a yoga class, or to get them over the fear of maybe going and meeting with somebody like you?
Yeah, of course. And I had a client by the name of Frank Masuhara who had the same issues. He was a golfer and traveled often, so he's constantly in that seated position. And he was very nervous about even going into a yoga class because it can be really intimidating. Now, depending on the type of yoga class you're going to, I think for any of the golf guys listening, prepare yourself for maybe a little bit of research before you go into the class. Make sure you're going into the level. If you're a beginner, trying a basic class, right, or beginner class. Ashtanga would not be for a novice.
What was that?
I said Ashtanga would not be for a novice. So maybe just going in and asking someone who is knowledgeable about the class levels. So if you're confident enough to go to a class, that would be my number one step. If you're not confident yet, there's a lot of instructors that you can hire privately, and that's pretty much what Frank did with me. And I worked with him, and he got to the point where he felt confident enough that he could actually go into a yoga class and work on his balance and work on his core strength and be able to use his mind and body as you do in golf. Because it's not just that's why I think I fell in love with golf, is the fact that you really do use both. And that's why I'm so passionate about what I do, because I feel like I get to offer both to my golf guys and my golfers. I can relate in that sense. So if you're trying yoga for the first time, I say go for it. Fake it till you make it. Have that confidence in you. Maybe hire a private instructor would be your first start, or a beginner. Or even someone you can confide in and talk about, or even bring a buddy with you. That always helps. Yeah. Someone maybe on your same level, so you feel like, at least
or a little worse than you.
Exactly. No, hey, yoga is not about comparing yourself, right? You always have to come from you. And that's funny, because that was something I dealt with. So I've lost over 50 pounds. I think I previously told you.
Yeah.
And when I would go into yoga class, I would go to the very back of the room and I would look at all the people in front, and I was just like, I want to be like that, but I'm not going to go up there and be next to her because I'm just not there yet. And it was frustrating. I compared myself. I went in there, and you know what I realized through doing that? I realized that the deeper rooted issue had nothing to do with that girl up there who had been practicing yoga for 20 years. Had to do with my own confidence. I didn't think I was, beautiful enough, or I didn't feel picked. And I realized I needed to pick myself. And from that's where true love came from me, and from me loving myself. And with that, I took that and I melted away the 50 pounds. It was the mindset. And I couldn't believe it. I was so mad at the time, because I was just like, if I would have known this,
right.
I would have tried all those fads and all those different training regimens that my trainers had me on. But when I changed that, it showed through. It shined through. And I've been lucky enough to continue with it and stay on the right mindset for the last over 8 years.
Awesome. First of all, congratulations, because that's huge. And, as somebody working in the fitness industry, that these are things that people are dealing with all the time. And it doesn't matter what the training regimen is. It doesn't matter what the diet is if there's other deeper things going on. And same with, I look at some of these competitive golfers and these guys that are working on maybe the web.com tour or the tours trying to get onto the web.com tour. And, they have the talent. They have every component that they need. They could have the strength. Maybe they have the flexibility, and maybe they've got some sort of mental game issue that they haven't figured out yet, or something else going on. Or it's all about figuring out where are either the weaknesses or the sticking points. And I think that's where most of us, if we can find that one thing, like you did, if you can find that one thing that's kind of holding you back, all of a sudden the floodgates can kind of open up there. Now, so we mentioned, having a little bit of that trepidation going into your first yoga class or whatever. What are some of the things that you find people having the most struggle with when they get in there? Maybe a body part or other issues that they struggle with? Because, for us guys especially, yoga can be very intimidating. You don't want to go in and be the guy in the front of the class or back of the class that can't do what you're doing. But what are the things that you find most, let's say the average, male around 40 to 50 years old, what do they tend to struggle with most?
I think that, where do you go in your mind when you're quiet? That could be the biggest thing. What are you thinking about? Right?
Yeah.
And then on, going into the body image, and through that, you can learn from being silent for a moment, or with yourself, being with yourself, you can see, where do I go? And personally speaking, for me, obviously, I went to body insecurities. And a lot of my golfers and golf guys, where they go is pain. They have this pain physically in their body, emotionally and physically. And through becoming aware and knowing that you have that pain, and maybe just even taking a moment to breathe into that, and taking it slow. I know that the first time I did yoga, I tried to put my foot behind my head, and that didn't work. So just, slowing it down. If touching your fingertips to your shins is where you're at, that's where you're at. And that's okay, because it's the journey that you get to learn to love and struggle with, and again, love, because you are your body and you're in your body, and every day is a choice to making that different. If that's what you desire, if that's what you really want, because I get a lot of golf guys who will say like, oh, I really want that, but do you really? Mm-hmm. So, appreciate where you're at.
I imagine yoga is, and I've dabbled with yoga. I can't say that I've been to many classes. I've been to several classes, have done, a few of the videos and things like that, but I can see where yoga can be very much kind of like the game of golf, because everybody shows up at a different level, and you're at your own level wherever you are, and you never master golf. you're never going to completely master, well, some folks, but even if you ask the person that we would consider a master at yoga, I would say that they would say they can get better. So that's how golf is. No matter how good you go out and play, you always think, oh, yeah, but I missed that one putt. I shot a 68, but it should have been a 67,
Awesome.
And so yoga is very much like that. And so you mentioned taking it one step at a time and just slowly knowing where you are and slowly work on improving there. Do you find that, or what are some of the things that you've seen help so much with your players, just as far as maybe hips or rotation or trunk? Where have they really noticed change?
Absolutely. So I had a client who was on medication. His LDL cholesterol levels were over 500. And just from making a daily habit, now simple steps, right? Taking it slow. Let's see where you're at and let's try to integrate. Like, for instance, you brush your teeth right every day, Jeff, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Good.
Yeah, thanks.
I like to add something like spicy or new to that. Let's challenge our balance. While you're brushing your teeth, let's maybe balance on one foot for as long as you're brushing, the left side, and then go to the other side when you're brushing the other side. That way, you're kind of becoming aware. And it's something that you're incorporating in a habit you've already built. From doing that and making small steps and small changes, or even committing to 10 minutes a day of something different, that can make the huge difference I've seen in my day-to-day and in my life. There's a thing, there's a book. It's called the 5-Minute Journal. And it's amazing because you get to sit and actually write out what you're grateful for that day, or what you could improve on the next day. Just stopping, being grateful, appreciating where you're at, and writing those things down and having those small little habits. Even if that's, today I'm going to stand up tall and rotate my hips from left to right for 60 seconds. And I've dealt with very beginners who are very insecure and very new to the fitness realm. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of where I feel like I specialize in, and I niche down to is, older men who are just trying this for the first time. Right? They're starting to see the effects of what, maybe a little bit of beer and pizza and not exercise can run into, and making it not so scary, right?
Yeah.
And letting it be fun. Laugh at yourself while you're balancing on your foot and brushing your teeth, because it's silly. And by doing those things, I've seen people, and I've seen people laugh and have fun, but mainly I've seen clients go from being in a bad, going to the doctor, and the doctor is telling them that if you don't make a change, you're going to get diabetes. And changing the LDL cholesterol levels, like I had mentioned earlier, from 500 to 100. Losing 50 pounds in one of my clients. He was one of my star clients, I call him, but he lost over 50 pounds. He shaved off 25 strokes. I was a very proud trainer, but it didn't come from me. It came from him. But yeah, those are some amazing things that I've seen, and just transformations from making that dedication. I think the first step is admitting to yourself that, yes, I want something different. And then from there, let's figure out why.
Yeah, I think you're right. Making that decision that, okay, I've got to change. I'm going to change. And then taking some of those steps. Tell us a little bit about your website, Painless Golfing, and what you're doing there. I know on Instagram, you're blown up on Instagram. You've got a bunch of videos and tons of followers there. So give us a little idea of what you're doing with the website now, because I know you do some in-person stuff, but you also do some online, quite a bit of online stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So the online, I want to be able to have a further reach. So with my website, I am making the platform seamless to go through, where you can book sessions with me, and we go through consultation where I go over pretty much maybe what's stopping you And from there, we either set up, I do 60, 90, and 120-day programs, because I do 60, 90, and 120 days because it takes, I read this book, it's 66 days to build a habit.
Yeah.
So from there, and just knowing that, I can build a habit, and this can be something that's in your life. And I only go to up to 120 days because if you're not there with me and you don't get it in 120 days, I'm very picky with who I take on. And I want people who want results. I want them to see it. And I want them to be super proud of themselves. So I go through an entire interviewing process. And through the website, you can navigate through. You can contact me if you have any like specific questions, or wanted something just, offhand to have to take out, maybe a 5-minute stretch before you get on the round. You can go onto my YouTube channel I have as well, under Painless Golfing. And then through different platforms for different things, right? Facebook is more for, here's the stretch of the week, guys. This is what we're doing. Instagram is just like fun, like me being me and having a good time and just showing you all the interesting things that I'm doing with my week and day, and interesting things I'm learning about the golf game myself, because I am a new golfer. So for me, it's been my own journey as well. So I'm happy that everyone gets to kind of follow along and see my own struggles with my own game, and I can kind of relate to my golfers that way more. And then with the website, you can actually purchase through PayPal coaching programs. So it's exciting because now you can just jumpstart and get into it. I do have you go through an entire interview process before I make you commit. So know that. But I am going to be coming out. Actually, I knew that you wanted to chat about this a little later, but something fun and new and interesting that I'm going to be doing is getting into a new video product. So there's a gentleman out here in Las Vegas. He runs a gym called Anthem, and it's one of the few golf fitness gym facilities out here in Las Vegas. And I have connected with him. He is a chiropractor and TPI certified as well. And he has come together with me and wants to create a video product.
Cool. So
we're going to be doing something that is just specific for golf guys who deal with pain and struggle with that in their game. So if you have any questions about that, actually, we're going to be having a link. It's www.painlessgolfing.com/18strong. So for our viewers, so they'll get a partial free product from that. So pretty much what I've done is all these guys who've been dealing with the pain and the struggles of, specifically shoulders, hips, we're taking all the common things that these guys are dealing with, and we're asking them, what do you need? And through interviewing and surveying all of these guys and all of our clients, we're going to create a video product based off of that. So that's
awesome.
Pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, you're right. You did steal my question from the end of the interview, though. Speaking of some of the last questions here, we got to dig into some of those. So as you know, the first and foremost is Caddyshack or Happy Gilmore.
I like it. Happy Gilmore.
All right. I had a feeling.
Yeah. You know what? Caddyshack is a classic. Happy Gilmore because I feel so silly in myself. And I can totally relate wanting to just me and my pink and my girliness out there on the green.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. If you could play 18 holes of golf with anyone in the world, you could go to any course you wanted to. And it doesn't have to be somebody in the world of golf, just anyone, past, present, or future. Who would it be, and where would you play?
Okay. I would pick, honestly, Gary Player. Just because if you've ever seen any of his videos online, he is hilarious and so much fun. And he's all about fitness. He's retired. He's like my ultimate, like, if I were to have trained anyone, I would want them to be like Gary Player. And just in the sense that he takes it like so seriously and loves it and is very just healthy. And I love that about him. And Torrey Pines. Torrey Pines. Sure. Yeah. Nice. San Diego. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. All right. What would you say is the mission of Painless Golf. Kind of is implied in the name here, but what would you say is your mission over the next, 2016, 2017, and then obviously I know you've got the video series coming out, so that's the most exciting part for you. But what's the mission here?
Mission, yeah. So for me personally, I want to be able to create a space for golfers who deal with pain, specifically want to increase flexibility and lose low belly fat. I want them to have like a free space for that. I want them to be able to navigate and feel confident and comfortable doing that. So
awesome. And then any last pieces of advice for the audience, and then obviously tell them where they can find you, where they can follow you, and we'll have all that linked up as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I wish everyone a golf pain-free day. And if you want to contact me, you can reach me at jess@painlessgolfing.com. My website is, again, painlessgolfing.com. Feel free to tag me, reach out to me on Instagram. I get back to anyone who comments below. And yeah.
Awesome. Well, Jess, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to come on the show. I love your mission, your passion. Obviously, we are in this fight together to create stronger, healthier, better moving, and more consistent, powerful golfers out there in the world. And so keep doing what you're doing. And I encourage everybody to go check out her different social platforms. Instagram is especially full of a bunch of videos, and just saw you on your golf board the other day and tooling around there. So go check out Jess at Painless Golf. If you guys want any more information on Jess and Painless Golfing, just go to 18strong.com. You can search for Jess in the search bar. This is episode 109, and you can find it there. And then, of course, if you guys want to know any more about her, just reach out to Jess, or you can contact her via her social platforms as well. I'm sure she'll get back to you. So, Jess, thank you so much for coming on, and I look forward to connecting with you in a couple of weeks. Actually, going to see you at the World Golf Fitness Summit in just a couple of weeks.
I will see you there. Yeah, absolutely.
Sounds great. Well, thank you again, and have a great day.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for joining me on the 18 Strong podcast this week. As always, if you want any more information on our guest, Jessika Shelton, go to 18strong.com, search for the episode number 109, or just look for Jessika Shelton. That's Jessica with a K, and you will find all the show notes and information that we talked about in this episode. If you haven't subscribed to iTunes for the 18 Strong podcast, go ahead and do that. And always, we love if you would leave a review if you do enjoy the show. That's the greatest way to get the word out on 18 Strong. I really appreciate you being here with me this week, and look forward to many, many other great guests, as well as some exciting times at the World Golf Fitness Summit next week in New Orleans, which I'm sure we're going to have plenty to discuss when I get back. I'll talk to you soon. Train hard, practice smart, play better golf.
Thanks for listening to the 18 Strong podcast at www.18strong.com. And remember, train hard, practice smart, and play better golf.